Good to go, mate. All right, mate, congratulations. How does it feel to crack in and get the first points of the year?
Reward for effort. Probably not just today. The last month's been really solid. Our last month we've sort of learnt how to be in games against the likes of Launceston and Glenorchy last week and Lauderdale, and we knew we were definitely on the right track. And there's a brick in the wall of a bright future for this group. I mean, to start training November 3 nights a week, to have 10 losses to start most of their TSL careers, and to hang in there and keep their standards high, not miss a session, and be really resilient is testament to them. And there was another example before the game today. Brodie Conley rolled in with an incredibly swollen knee. I mean, so much so that he could barely walk, yet he still wanted to play. And a young 16-year-old, Tay Hyatt, was having a kick out in the ground. It was emergency, and I walked out and said, "Mate, what do you reckon about having a game today?" And his eyes lit up and he grabbed his boots and away he went. So we had 10 players play today that are 17 or 16.
It's an emotional day for you personally as well, to see these young guys.
Yeah, I think this group,
To sing the song.
I think this group's undervalued for the work that they put in, even with our own club. I think they're certainly undervalued. I mean, they're good, honest young men that all train 3 nights a week, that get paid very little to travel the state. Probably that's why I was a little bit emotional. I just see the work that these put in and the support they've given me. They're extremely coachable group. I mean, they hang off everything you say. So yeah, it was real reward for effort today.
And for them to get to sing the song, to be able to celebrate now.
Yeah.
How important is that for them?
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting.
Obviously, wins from the development has been the most important.
No, they're not.
But at the same time, you want to.
And that's been the theme. I mean, we haven't let the low points within the group get too low, and we won't get the. I mean, we won a game of footy at the end of the day, but it's an important step for us. It was an interesting photo I just saw of how many people were standing inside the circle, as opposed to how many would try to outstretched around the outside. So, extremely proud of the group, and there were some players today that really led from the front, and I thought our leaders, when required, just got it done.
It was the first quarter you really set the game up. You were so bold and daring early on. Just take every opportunity just to grab it and run it down the centre corridor. And obviously 6 goal to the first quarter was the outcome of that. How impressed were you in quarter time?
Yeah, as I said, it's been building. I mean, we've had really good patches against some of the best teams in the comp, and the key word to that's been patches. And today we were on top early. We had to grind it a little bit in the middle 2 quarters. But yeah, we're trying to play a brand of footy that's going to hold up over the next couple of years, not just today.
It looked like after that they tried to obviously slow the game down a bit, pushed it wider in comparison to that first quarter. Like I said, when it was pretty much corridor play. Impressed though you're able to stand up when you needed to those final three quarters?
Yeah, the third quarter, Bernie came out and started really strong, and we probably knew that was going to happen. That was their opportunity to get back in the contest, and I think they kicked the first 2 of that quarter, but to our guys' credit, they hung in there, and there was a fair few stoppages down deep in the pocket that we just had to hang in there and keep the buffer that we had and finish strong, which we did, so really pleased with that.
Dylan Riley played a lot forward today, so I think we've seen you guys over 3 quarters.
Yeah.
In recent time, was that for something for today?
Yeah, that was probably just watching Bernie last week against Launceston. Ruller had a really good game. We knew Dylan was probably one of our most important players, so for him and I to play forward and both kick 3 was what we sort of planned. But I mean, it was far more than that. I thought Bo Sharman was our best player today by the length of Flemington Straight. I hate to think how many possessions he's had, and his organisation around stoppages was terrific.
You mentioned your other leaders out there. Again, the fact that you did it without Brodie Conley, who probably been one of the best, especially in recent times. Brad was out suspended, so obviously 2 key guys not there.
Yeah.
Being able to get the job done again is a nice tip for this young group.
Yeah, we're just trying to build a bit of density within the club. I mean, you're right, Simo and Chardy and those guys, Connors, our best 22 players, but if you're going to be any good, you need 35. You can't just rely on a bare 22. So to have a few kids step in today was really pleasing.
The challenge, not a challenge, obviously you want these guys to enjoy today.
Yeah,
win today?
I think the monkey's off their back a little bit. I think it was the elephant in the room a little bit. Were Devonport going to win a game? Now, I can be as confident as I want and portray a strong message that hang in there, will be fine. For that now to be in the bank takes a lot of pressure off them to now hopefully springboard into the back half of the year and pick up a few wins on the way home.
What other aspects do you think you did well out
I think the last...
there? Speed early on.
Yeah, our tackle pressure has probably been the thing that's got us in the games in the last month. And I thought that again was the backbone of, particularly early in the game, we forced a few turnovers by tackling relatively well. So that's the underpinning grunt work that it's not a skill thing, it's an attitude. So I was pleased with that.
Any injuries out of that?
Some sore bodies. I think Liam Williams is a bit sore, but he was pretty keen to get back on. But yeah, most games of footy you'd pull up pretty sore.
Did you get everything you expected from Melody out there? Obviously, quarter time was one-way track a lot early on, but after that it was more congested in the contest. Were you obviously expecting that at some point?
We knew at half time that there was going to be a strong response in the third quarter, and sure enough, I think they kicked a goal within 50 seconds and then kicked another one shortly after that. That's why I was pleased that the response from our guys was there, and we did what we needed to do. Thanks, mate.
Tell me, what's the general reaction after that one? What do you say to the boys afterwards?
Oh, look, we after half time we played our structures and obviously played the game plan that we set. We took the ball on, took the footy on, and obviously things got a lot better after half time. But it was obviously the second quarter where things actually fell away, and we need to address that throughout the week on the track. That's for sure.
You mentioned the second quarter, obviously the first quarter as well, where obviously that was where the gap on the scoreboard was created. That's the area to go, I'm guessing, you lament that you weren't sort of switched on for the open bounce.
Yeah, well, that's right. Unfortunately, I think it's been a common theme all year that we've been slow starters and we finished well. And that's something that, again, we've just got to address again throughout the course of the week, that's for sure, and get on top nice and early.
But again, you're showing resilience. Like you said, that's a familiar story in regards to your starts. But again, that familiar story is showing patches in games when you do actually strongly compete. That was there for a lot of that second half today. So there must be a sense of pride instead of upset rather than falling away completely.
Yeah, most definitely. We can go two ways. Footy's a funny thing. We can go two ways. You could drop your head at half time there and, think the game's done and dusted. But, to the boys' credit, a few moves were made and, we took the game on, and the instruction from the coaching staff at half time was, to take the game on. And as Mitch said, we kicked the first two goals of the third quarter, got ourselves up and about, and, unfortunately, we fell short at the end of the day.
Was there a focus? It looked like in the distance after quarter time to obviously slow it down because they were using the centre corridor pretty much for all their attempted moves early on, and then after that everything seemed to be much wider.
Yeah, most definitely. And that was a plan from the start of the game as well. And unfortunately, we just didn't, do it in the first quarter. But yeah, definitely after quarter time, we were a lot better at that.
So I'm saying they executed that well once you had the game.
Most definitely. Yeah, it's a good feeling. I think, as it's a common theme throughout the course of the year that, small wins. And, we've got a young group, and obviously we're not getting the end of the day win, but, we're getting small wins along the way, and I think that's important as a group, that we tick those off so the boys get some achievement throughout the course of the day.
And you well and truly in the final quarter, you got to 22 points with more than enough time left in the final.
Most definitely.
Results. And again, it wasn't the case. You could easily have turned the wheels up at quarter time.
Well, that's exactly right. And a couple of things didn't go our way out there, obviously, and, that probably cost us a couple of goals as well. But, that's the thing. We never gave up. We fought towards the end. And, to the boys' credit, we'll bounce back and hopefully we're right for next week.
Pressure was good. You must be really impressed with that aspect of the game because you did take it right up to him.
Yeah, I think that's been a winning thing all year for us. Obviously against the higher sides as well, our pressure has been okay. And that's something I think as a young group, the ground doesn't know how young we are. And I think, as a young group, that's something that we've been okay at throughout the course of the year, but there's always room for improvement. Oh, look, young Sammy Camerfield, he was sensational. I think he got about 5 or 6 tackles in the third quarter. He's a 16-year-old kid playing a role that a 100 or 200 game player could play, which is fantastic. I think Bailey Bogue was fantastic down back. He'd done a really good job on Riley early on in the game, and then come forward, which is fantastic. Jimmy Dowling 2 weeks in a row now. I thought he was I thought he was really good. Reedy Barrett forward, as always. So, and even Proc snuck forward there a couple of times and got us on the scoreboard and got us up and about. So, Nick McKenna, when he went back to Thorpe as well, I thought that he'd done a really great job.
Proc mentioned to me yesterday, Sam and Jim Dowling, as guys, youngsters who wanted to see stand up. So when you see that, you throw that over Bogan to that as well, when you see these young kids step up, because it is a high pressure situation out there, coastal rivals, two teams desperate, when you see these young kids stand up in that environment, it must just bring a smile on your face.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, it's a tough gig, statewide footy, and I mean, I don't know whether you've played 100 games or 3 games. It's still a tough gig week in and week out. But for these kids, it's like we talked about, small wins, and they're now 12 or 13 game plays at statewide level, not 0 game plays. So the more experience we get in, obviously Sam and Bogey and part of the Mariners group as well, so they can bring that into us and hopefully give their skills through there.
It's difficult to put that message across now. Obviously, this is probably the first Tigers game a couple of weeks ago. Game you sort of go in, time and you walk away, you don't get the points. The challenge now to obviously keep their heads up. They haven't dropped it yet this year, but obviously we're getting close, deeper and deeper in the season. So
Yeah, it certainly does. I think, we go into each week with our set goals. And, this week was no different. Obviously we'd like to come out with the win at the end of the day. But, like I said, little wins across the board. And, I think we do that fairly well. And I guess the boys can see those KPIs. So, in a sense, we lose a game of footy, but we win our KPIs. And, I think that gets the boys up and about and keeps them motivated. Obviously, Hobart City next week, it's a very winnable game at home. And, we pushed them, for 4 quarters down there, somewhat weeks ago now. So I think, in the back of the boys' minds now, we put Devonport behind us. We put the last, 11 or 12 weeks behind us and we move on to Hobart City now. Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we've been lucky enough probably this last 4 or 5 weeks to play up here on the coast. We haven't had to travel. And I guess, in a sense, the Hobart team's coming. They're always dawning of West Park, so hopefully Hobart City's the same. Cheers, mate.